All right, let's start that again. Welcome to the Center of Love. It's great to have everybody here. Great to have the kids and stuff running outside, whether they get in here or not. It's all love. And that is sort of the big thing here at the Center of Love. For people who haven't been here, it's a place to gather in community with like-hearted individuals to support and share wisdom, healing, and love with each other and the world at large, to build bridges and bring people together in the names of oneness and love. And that's truly what it is here. And that's what we've been trying to bring together through community and through the kids outside playing, through the friends who get to sit here, through our hearts connecting with one another, with people that we've known for a very long time, with people who we've known for a short time. It's all love coming from this space, from our hearts, and have that reflected between all of us. I get the honor of sharing or hosting for Laura today. And for some of you that know and others that don't, Laura and I have known each other since we were about 5 years old. Our families have grown up together. We've grown through a lot together, but our hearts and our souls got to reconnect when we were in our late 20s. And we were able to start a beautiful family. And here we've been able to bring together the love and everything onto this property and steward it from here. And if you don't know Laura, which people online might not, she truly acts from a place of love. It's a beautiful life to be able to share with her and to hear all the different things. And yeah, it really is sweet. We do get to share a lot of things together. So without further ado, here she is. And we get to hear some of the stories that I've gotten to grow up with. So thanks, guys.
Good morning, everyone. This seems so official now that I'm like standing at the lectern and you're all like sitting here in rows. There's a part of me that feels like we should rearrange into a circle, but I'll let it be. Thank you all for coming today. I know that Sunday morning is like prime time. And, me and Alex and Kate, we're just so grateful that you're all willing to like come and just like receive whatever is meant for you today. So today I'm going to be talking about living the wisdom of the heart. And I'm mostly just going to read from what I wrote last week. But first, let's just like take a breath, because I need to take a breath. So if you want to just close your eyes for a moment, you may even put your hand on your heart if that feels good. And maybe setting a shared intention here today that each of us receive even just 10% more of an experience of love than we came in with. And just letting that be enough. Beautiful. Thank you for that. So today I want to talk about something that's both incredibly simple and deeply sacred, and that's living the wisdom of your own beautiful heart. So for a long time, I thought that my heart was just a place where I felt all of my emotions. And mostly it was a feeling of longing, like something was missing. Sometimes hopeful and inspired, but often pretty confused. But bless you. But what I've come to realize is that the heart isn't just where we feel, it's also where we hear, where we explore, where we heal, and where we can tap into infinite possibilities. And so as I sat down last Saturday to write this, I'm so grateful that I wrote this a week ahead, because this week was crazy. A story, actually, a memory of my childhood popped up that I haven't thought about in forever. I don't even know when. And so it just started to pour out of me. So I'm going to share this little story now. So I remember being a young girl, around 8 or 9 years old, and my parents had recently split up. I was heartbroken. Everybody else seemed to be fine. My sister and I, bless you, Lara. My sister and I were back to sharing a bedroom in the apartment we had recently moved into with our mom. We had the master, and my section of the room was on the side with the big window that looked out at the green belt that ran along the back side of the building. There was a tall, wide bookshelf that sectioned off my part of the room, and my bed was pressed up against the back side of that shelf. It was a blank slate of brown corkboard, just waiting for something to adorn it. So my sister, who for context is older than me, God bless her, had a booger collection next to her bed. I, on the other hand, had taped up tiny pieces of paper on which I had written Psalms from my Bible. That's how different we were. We were raised Lutheran and connected to a positive church community, and these little one-liners delivered micro hits of comfort in a life where I often wondered where I fit in. They reminded me that I was part of something bigger than this little bubble that I saw around me. Fast forward to now, and I can't recall one specific psalm that I patiently copied down, but I imagine little Laura being drawn to something like, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." I had no way of knowing that feeling things so deeply wasn't actually a curse, but pretty normal and could also be pretty great. I had no context for how to see the world as a joyful place because my body told me most of the time that it was a place to fear. I didn't look at the people closest to me in my life and see sameness. It was pretty confusing, to say the least. And I know that I'm not alone in these experiences from the past and the conscious effort I make now to stay in a place of love over fear. Yet I see so many people walking around carrying the suffering of the world that they've seen and experienced, the weight of their past, the heartbreak of the world around them, as if it's theirs alone to bear, wondering where and if they belong here. And this used to be me too. But today I want to offer a different possibility. What if your heart wasn't built to carry all the pain of the world? What if your heart was built to transform it? What if your heart, your real living heart, is not just a storage room for sorrow and not just an organ that pumps blood, but a sanctuary of infinite love? This has been my journey of discovery, and I'm grateful to share some of it with you today. So naturally, being an empath and a highly sensitive person, seeing the world of suffering around me and then feeling like it was my job to feel it and hold it, it made perfect sense for me to go into social work. Like, what was I thinking? I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have been an accountant or something, but no. I never wanted to work in child welfare. In fact, many of my classmate friends were doing their specializations in that field, and I was running in the other direction. I wanted to work with old people, or older adults is the PC term, but I quickly learned that those are the cherry positions. Everybody wants to work with the grandmas and grandpas, so no social worker leaves until they absolutely have to leave. So I ended up in child welfare. I spent 9 years there, and the bulk of my time was spent managing group homes for high-risk youth and children in ministry care. I met a lot of kids. I read a lot of case files. I attended a lot of meetings. My work felt purposeful and worthwhile, but it also felt incredibly heavy and draining. I had not yet developed really any of my own energy stewardship skills. I didn't have the tangible tools or the perspective that I now have that helps me metabolize the suffering that I see in the world. I was raw dogging it, like quite literally, gritting my teeth to get through it. And after 9 years, I left my career and I felt liberated and excited. And I also felt guilty and really angry, actually. Alex was very, very happy when I finally left. And I was instantly much less drained, grumpy, irritable, sad, all those things. And I felt like I was able to leave social work because I had stumbled upon entrepreneurship. I was having a lot of success in a network marketing business, selling essential oils and learning about holistic health, energy medicine, and universal laws. I also became connected with an incredible community of women who I saw myself reflected in for the first time. And this opened up a whole new world to me. This was also when I started learning about and connecting with the wisdom of my heart. So at this point, I had also discovered EFT tapping, emotional freedom techniques, and had started working with a practitioner. And a lot of our time was spent working on healing from my time in social work. I learned that I carried the suffering of every file I read, child I met, thinking that this was somehow helping them and helping me. Only it was doing the opposite. It was draining on both sides because it ultimately meant that I didn't believe that these children had the power to be okay on their own. They needed people like me who were more okay to hold their less okayness. But this wasn't and isn't the truth, and yet I just couldn't seem to let go. I was attending a 3-day women's spirituality event in Kelowna in 2018, and it had been almost a year since I'd left social work. And I was really struggling to come to a place of peace about that time in my life. I was still really haunted by a lot of it, including holding a lot of anger towards my colleagues, the professionals who had a duty to protect but didn't, and the system that was so broken. A woman on stage was leading us in a meditation that had taken me directly into the portal of my heart. And something there broke open. Tears began streaming down my face, and my body swayed to the music playing in the background. And I saw my heart spontaneously combust. And little flames started to leap out of my chest and land on the women in the room around me, awakening the fiery hearts in them too. In that moment, I had this deep knowing that not only was I going to be okay, but that I had just awakened a wisdom so deep and ancient and loving in me that would guide me in ways I could never even imagine before that moment. So I went on a deep dive into all things heart. Science has now shown what mystics and poets have always known, that the heart isn't just a pump. It's an intelligent field of energy. It sends signals to every part of our body and even beyond it. The HeartMath Institute found that the heart generates a magnetic field that's about 5,000 times stronger than the brain's magnetic field. And this field isn't limited to our chest. It actually extends several feet outside of the body, which means every time we are present in love, in compassion, in peace, our hearts are radiating that coherence into the space around us. We're literally changing the environment we live in, not by carrying the suffering or by affirming all of our reasons to worry or be scared or be in control. But by transforming the atmosphere with the intelligence of the heart. You don't have to be a healer. You don't have to be a perfect person. You don't even have to be in a good mood. And you definitely don't have to have it all figured out. Your heart is already wired to be a sanctuary of infinite healing for yourself and for the world around you. I have been since then teaching about the miraculous nature of the heart and guiding men and women through theirs to meet their own infinite light. And when I think back now to that little Laura taping up Psalms next to her bed, writing down scraps of hope on tiny pieces of paper, I realized that she already knew. She didn't have the words for it yet. She didn't understand the science. She didn't know about energy fields or coherence or any of it. She didn't even know that there are other people out there who felt as deeply as she did. But she knew deep down that there was something bigger holding her, that her heart wasn't just a place of sadness. It was a doorway, a sanctuary, a point of infinite light, a bridge between the human and the divine. And today, if I could whisper to her across all these years, I would tell her, you were right to trust your heart. Well done. It was speaking to you even then. There's a quote that I've always loved by Hafiz that says, even after all this time, the sun never says to the moon, you owe me. Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky. And that's what our hearts are capable of. A love that shines without keeping score. A love that sees the light in the darkest of places. A love that heals the body and heals the mind and connects us to our soul. A love that lights the whole sky. Not because we earned it and not because we carried all that suffering first, but because that's simply what love does when we let it move through us freely. And today, I just want to remind you, your heart is already wired for this kind of love. You are already wise, and you are already filled with light. And you don't have to carry the whole world to heal it. You just have to be still and know. Thank you.